Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Today we are back talking about No Time to Die. And I think most of you have seen that there was a little bit of excitement pretty recently. There was a teaser for a trailer and there was a trailer. And in both of those, but especially the teaser, we saw something very interesting. In the very beginning of the teaser, you see Bond, and it's the brooding, badass Bond, and it looks like a garage or some sort of storage unit is opening up, and you see him there just kind of brooding, and we all went a little bananas. He was clearly wearing some sort of tan jacket or shirt, nice white crisp t-shirt, it looked like. Oh, then we had a couple days in between, and then from the teaser came that trailer. And I think no matter how divisive the Bond community gets, I think we can all agree that there was a lot of excitement and that teaser blew us all away. Some of us even got emotional. Let's not get into that. But what we did see was this jacket in a lot more detail. Bond is clearly in some sort of storage unit. Maybe he's gone back to London after Felix went and gathered him. Who knows? It's all speculation, which we love to do. But he's clearly in some sort of storage unit, which we've seen that before, a la Skyfall. And clearly he keeps all of his Aston Martins and all his best vehicles in storage. But he whips off the cover off of this beautiful Living Daylights Aston Martin. And we all went a little bananas. He's wearing what looks like to be some sort of pants, could be jeans, could be chinos. Hard to see what he's wearing, footwear. But this became very clear. And thanks to all the detectives out there and a little bit behind the scenes, perhaps, we now know that it is the RgT, or Rogue Territory, tan Ridgeline jacket. Now, there's a couple exciting things going on in this particular video. You know what we're going to do. We're going to start out with talking about the jacket itself. We're going to get into the detail of the fit and the feel and all that breaking in. But we're also going to explore the story of how RgT, Rogue Territory, became a Bond brand. And you know this. Once you become a Bond brand, you're forever written permanently, pen, magic marker, Sharpie, into the lore of Bond sartorial history. So welcome, RgT. So we're going to get into that in a moment, but let's talk about the jacket. I'm wearing it. I'm wearing the RgT, now we call No Time to Die Bond jacket. What are we going to call it? The garage jacket? We're going to call it the storage jacket? We always get a nickname for these things, but for right now, we're going to call it the tan Ridgeline. That's what it's for. What was a nice surprise, I'll start off from the bat, is that when you see a lot of the clothing in these Bond films, you fully expect it to have many zeros after it. These are luxury brands. Happily, Rogue Territory prices it at $295. Some areas have coupons or discounts, so you can actually, some people have gotten it for a little bit less. But what's great about it is, let's talk about the look. This is kind of that chore trucker jacket. What I mean by that is this is a very traditional look to it. Let's get up and close and personal. So what's nice is if you get this particular view, you can see a lot of the different details. You've got this nice pocket up here. It's a great utility pocket. It's a welted pocket. It's really strong. It actually functions. You've got also an inside pocket over on this side to hold a wallet, a passport, and you've got these quote unquote hand warmers. I don't think they're going to keep your hands extremely warm, but what's nice is in kind of a cold wind, if you're wearing this, it really does fit the bill. And again, this kind of view, you can see the silhouette of this is pretty damn flattering. I mean, you could see that from a Bond standpoint, it would definitely show off any kind of physique that's showed a certain amount of discipline. So good on them, good on Siderat and Daniel Craig for choosing this. But check this out. So this is interesting. There is a hole right here, another buttonhole that does not have a button in it. That actually harkens back to when men wore pocket watches. They would actually slip their pocket watch and chain into this hole. I use it for a lot of different things, to hold my sunglasses sometimes. It's got so much utility to it that at first you look at it and go, what's that all about? But that's kind of the history behind this white buttonhole. Something that you're going to want to do to make this even more screen accurate is to train the collar. Yes, this is a real thing. Because of the wax canvas, this can very often take on the shape that you train it into. What I mean by that is, Bond wears this kind of interesting scoop in the back. So his collar kind of scoops in. It's not just a typical pop the collar and then put your tips down. He actually has this tiny little bold scoop. And I know this is a lot of detail and a lot of people are like, dude, but some of you out there are going to want to do this. So train your collar to pop it and then bring down the tips. Also, in the trailer, the tips kind of float up like that. You can train the collar to do that. I'm putting them down like this because that's kind of how I would wear something like this. It's almost like how I would wear a raincoat. With most of my raincoats, I do it in a very European style, which is to pop the back up and bring the tips down. First of all, it protects your back of your neck from the wind, which is kind of cool. Second of all, it actually, ready for this? It frames your face. Yeah, I know. Crazy stock. But let's get up and close and you could see some of the things. For example, these buttons are incredibly well made. This is a Los Angeles-based company run by Karl and a very small team. I mean, his wife is involved, which is wonderful. But one of the things that they've done is they take a lot of time and care into putting these together. So the seams of the jacket, the details are all there. All right, so we're going to actually show you the inside details of this jacket. I should say for all of you eagle-eyed people out there, this is not what Bond was wearing under his shirt. Can you imagine that? It was like his mom sewed his name into his clothing. It's not camp. All right, so first of all, I want to show you something kind of interesting. A little pedestal here. Here's the jacket. I want to show you the rigidity of this because when you first get this, it is going to feel like armor. Now let's see if I can do this little trick that I did before. Hold on, wait for it, wait for it. Okay. Okay, so this gives you an idea, the way it's standing up like now, the rigidity of the jacket. Now, when I first received it, I could stand it up straight. It's starting to break down over time. So that gives you kind of a nice view of how this really does feel like it's incredibly robust. I mean, I feel like I could almost be in a knife fight. You could see Bond wanting to wear something like this because it is that kind of protective layer, but it's also got that casual Bond look. And something we can't get away from, this jacket is so connected to the Daniel Craig style. And I'm not talking Bond. I'm talking, I could see Daniel Craig wearing this down in New York City, walking to his home, getting groceries, because this type of a look, this Americana type look, this trucker jacket is so Daniel Craig. I could see them in a room filled with merchandise going, nope, nope, nope. Ooh, I like that. I would wear that in real life. And who knows if that's his process? We'll never know. But I could see that happening. By the way, let's take a look at the interior here. I'll bring it in close. You've got the tag up here, the medium, made in Los Angeles, California. It says, keep the trade alive for every season, and that's their mantra, is this free trade sustainability, which is very cool. But look at the interior. That is just simple, really nice and simple interior. I mean, it's almost see-through in the light, which is so cool. It says down here, and this is a very important note, I'm going to read this. Take care. Spot clean with cold water. Do not wash, do not dry clean. Reapply finish when needed to maintain water repellency. That is a really good point. This is, again, waxed 10-ounce canvas. If you get something on here, and I actually hope you do, I hope you wear it enough that you're going to get a stain on this because it makes these things better. What you want to do is you want to spot clean this. Do not do anything else but spot clean this. This is a utility jacket, meaning it's not going to be treated like silk or cashmere or anything like that. You just want to spot clean it. Now, we have a little bit of a treat, and I'm going to put on my jacket for this. The treat is, you didn't know this, or maybe you did, but I don't think so. There is a story that goes with this jacket. Yes, we're not just talking about the fit and the function. There is a great story with this because this is not a story of somebody paying a contract to be in No Time to Die. No, this is a story of a small business company who found themselves in the middle of a James Bond movie. Now, I could probably tell you the story and I'd be okay, kind of adequate at it. But instead of that, I have a special guest that's going to tell the story, and that is the owner of RgT Rogue Territory, Karl himself. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You don't look like you've aged a minute.
Same with you. No, when I saw your picture pop up, I was like, yes, I definitely remember meeting you.
That's insane. I remember we had the longest conversation about the shawl jacket. It was like kind of all the rage back then. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of wild how how things have, like, we've followed certain paths and then we decided to like change paths, and a lot has changed and not changed.
I know.
Yeah, I obviously I knew, the global scale of the Bond franchise, but it's not something that I gave much thought to. I was like, oh yeah, the movies are cool. Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. And then obviously Sean Connery. And then there's some guys in between that I don't remember. And then, it's outside of it being a movie and then knowing that there's fans of it, I never thought that it would touch my world in any way. But the supply jacket, which is the initial design concept for what you're wearing, the tan ridgeline, that came about in 2010. So it was, Rogue Territory was 2 years in the making. We were producing shirting, and specifically denim bottoms and trousers at that point. But we kept getting people asking us to make a denim jacket. And I was not interested in just like saying, okay, I can take a Levi's trucker jacket and make that with my label on it. So it took me about a year and a half to develop the design for the supply jacket. And the reason why it's called the supply jacket is because it was released exclusively with our one of our #1 top tier retailers, Need Supply, based out of Richmond, Virginia. So that's where the name came from.
Okay.
And so Leslie and I focused on, from 2013 on building this business and developing it into what it is today. We had 2 girls in the process. And when we had 2 girls, we decided to take a step back from the business and spend most of our time with them, which is when we hired employees and we grew our team and ran the business in a different way than we were ever used to running it. And then now both girls are in full-time childcare or school. And now we're back 100% in the business.
Wow. And is it just you and your wife?
Yeah.
My gosh, that's amazing. So it's interesting. I was thinking about the time that we had met, and I remember when my wife and I met you, one of the things that I couldn't believe, and it impressed me, and I still see it today, is that I had heard your name. Obviously, we were conversing back and forth before we met in person, but you were the model on all the social media. You were the model on the website. And then when I met you in person, I'm like, hold on a second. Oh, he's the owner and the model and the creator. And I'm thinking to myself, this is kind of like a one-man or two-person show. But I was very impressed that even today, with all the business and trajectory that you have, you're still the model.
The only one, I'm a little on the short side. And our good friend who we actually met through USC MBA program, he went to school with Leslie, is our bottoms model. Oh. And he's been our bottoms model since 2009.
Wow. That's longevity.
It's amazing. Yeah, he's he's awesome.
All right.
He just jumped into it. Go ahead.
It's amazing because I think a lot of people are very interested in the evolution, but we've got to hear the story, because I know it's been hinted about. We've got thousands of followers that are kind of sitting by the edge of their seat right now because there is some incredible sartorial history of how brands, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose, become part of a Bond movie, which is just boggles my mind to even say it out loud to you. But can you tell us the story of how did this all begin?
So leading up to the Tan Ridge line as it is today was created just as a seasonal product. I believe it was back in 2012. And it wasn't going to go past that season. And then we just kept getting more and more retailers who didn't have it interested and asking for it. So we were like, okay, we'll make one more run and then we're done, guys. So we made that run. It sold very fast. And we're like, well, why don't we just keep making this? And we've been making it since then. So 6-7 years. And now it's a core product that we keep in stock all year long. We're producing it all year long and have been. But yeah, leading up to this, it was a retail partner of ours, Rivet and Hide in London. They have a Manchester location now, but I believe someone from the costume department just went into their store and was shopping either specifically for the movie or just shopping, and wound up buying, I believe, just one of the Tan Ridge lines. And then shortly thereafter, the proprietor, Danny of Rivet and Hide, emailed us and just said, hey, there's someone from a costume department that's interested in this jacket. It was very like nebulous at this point. There was no clear idea of where it was going or who it was for. And he's like, I think we need 15 to 20 of these for a movie. I can't say what it's for. I can't say who it's for, but it's for a big movie. And that was it. And we were like, okay, good. We have stock of that. And then we shipped them to them.
Did they ask for any particular sizes or anything like that? Like a variety of sizes?
It was a few, it was like split in half, large and extra large. And we've never directly outfitted anybody for a movie, but for movies, specifically action movies, you've got your, maybe 10 for the actor themselves, and then for any stunt work. And then, there's always extras if there's damages or stains or whatever. So a few weeks go by and we get another email from Danny, and he's like, you got to keep this mum, keep it to yourselves, but it might be the new James Bond movie. Again, we don't know who it's for, but that we believe that, that's where it's going.
And how long ago was this that he starts to give you that hint? Is it just a couple months ago?
I think it was like
ago. Oh, March.
Yeah, it was like March or April of 2019.
Yep.
And, and then we just go about our lives. We're like, oh, that's cool. Like, I wonder who it's going to be on. It would be amazing if it was on Daniel Craig. But, at this point, they're buying so much stuff to try out. There's no guarantees.
Right.
So, so we're like, okay, cool. We'll see what happens. And then the 15-second trailer dropped like a week and a half ago. And one of our customers did a screenshot. I didn't see the initial trailer.
Oh my gosh.
A customer just DM'd me and says, I'm pretty sure that this is a supply jacket. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell from this angle. Let me see. And then I like posted it on stories and with a question. And then another customer finds a better screenshot and zooms in on the chest pocket and says, case closed. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. So you had no idea up until literally this broke into the public. There was no emails or heads up or anything like that, or communication with the costumer, nothing at all.
Nothing. Which is crazy. I mean, I would love to say thank you to whoever got our jacket on Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
But to this point, we don't know who it is. So
Well, we know that the
you're li-
process. I mean, we've heard stories from other brands that the process typically is that it's a combination of Siderat, who is the costume designer, and Daniel Craig, who has, as you know, I'm sure now, a lot of say in what he wears. In fact, I think he has final say. And it's funny when
wow.
we the public saw this jacket, we were like, oh my gosh, this is something that Daniel Craig would wear in the streets of New York. I mean, he wears these types of clothing. He loves salvage. He loves all these types of kind of Americana looks. So when we saw this, we almost said that it's almost like Bond is wearing a Daniel Craig jacket. It's something that
Wow.
the actor and the character would wear. But I
It,
believe what happens is all these clothing pieces go into a giant room with mood boards, and depending on the scene, they may choose certain, jackets, lay them out, and then Siderat, the costume designer, and Daniel Craig go, okay, that one. And then
yeah,
they tailor it to hell, I'm sure, as so it fits
yeah.
perfectly. We've heard that's the process, but so maybe your jackets went through that similar process.
I would imagine. I
Yeah,
mean, for a movie of that kind of budget, they're not just like shooting in the dark.
yeah,
So yeah, it's such an interesting process because we've gone through it for a couple films, but nobody talks to us directly. So
yeah,
it's like, hey, it's usually through a retailer.
right.
For like your viewers are probably not interested, but for Predator 2019, they also bought a
Yeah.
unlined tan ridgeline jacket and then reached out directly to us because they wanted to line them with the Faribault blanket lining.
Ah, okay.
So did I lose you? Yeah. So I sold them blanket lining for them to sew into 10 jackets. And then they modified it further with they did like a suede patch on it. But anyway,
Right.
it's such a trip. I think it's really interesting, and costume designers have a different type of brain, and I love
Yeah.
it.
Now, so the teaser comes out, the teaser for the trailer comes out, and then the trailer comes out, and your
Yep.
jacket is highlighted in a significant scene where Bond is obviously going to some sort of garage or storage facility and whipping off the cover and seeing the living daylights, his old vintage Aston Martin. I mean, that
Yeah.
further cemented your jacket. So did that just raise the excitement level for you?
Yeah, because then we're like, well, if it's making it into the trailer, it's got to be in a significant scene leading up to this point.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of like, our brains are just racing as to like, well, he looks like he just was in a fight, like his face is messed up. So we're like, okay, did he fight in this jacket? Because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, this is his last movie, so does he die in this jacket?
Ooh. Wow.
You're like, no, he doesn't. I mean, my wife and I go back and forth about it. I'm like, he's not gonna die. He can't die. But she's like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. I was like,
Wow. There's
ah.
so many theories. I can't
So,
imagine that they would kill off James Bond. I mean, this incredible franchise. I mean, I know that they're going to be going to a new actor, but it'd be interesting how they would handle that. So this potentially could be his death shroud, is what you're saying.
mm.
And that's what your wife is saying.
I mean, it would be pretty amazing. But there's a lot going on as far as like, us. This is our busy time of year just in general.
Yeah.
We a lot of our retailers are ordering and prepping for holiday sales. So we got like caught off guard, of course, and we were like, oh well, it's a good thing we're in production on this jacket again. Well, that production is gone, and as is the next production. So for us, we source all this fabric from the East Coast. It's a beautiful fabric that's produced in-house, but again, like the factory from the East Coast doesn't sit on stock in fabric. So I put in these orders, and then they're like, okay, well, we can ship you this, and
Right.
then the rest is back ordered. So we're like, but the amazing thing about what we have built and what we do is we're so um, directly involved in every process of development to production that we are more nimble. Like we
Right.
can react, and you know, our top sewing manufacturer has 8 sewers.
Wow.
So they produce 8 sewers, family owned. We've been using them for over 10 years, and yeah, it's a trip. Like this, it's, you know, it was business as usual
Sure.
at our high time, and then in addition to
Yeah.
this,
Well, and I
so
don't mean to scare you, Karl, but so the people that know about this jacket are a relatively small Bond community that are connected online. I mean, everybody knows everybody's name. What's going to happen, and I'm sure you know this, is there's going to be another big push. I mean, even when this video comes out, there's a whole other group of people that will see and hear about the jacket being identified. But then in 2020, as we get closer to the movie, there'll be a resurgence of people who further identify the jacket. So
right.
this is I foresee this is going to be a tsunami, which is a positive one, of course. I mean, it's a celebratory moment.
Yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, like I said, you know, it's a me and my wife, and we are 100% involved in the business. We don't outsource any part of our business other than the
Right.
manufacturing. So uh, and we, up until this point, and even moving forward, have never focused on sales. And I believe I even talked to you about that when we met.
Yes.
You know, I did that pop-up flea as an opportunity to be in front of our existing customers,
Yeah.
because there really isn't much of a touch point on the East Coast for our product.
Yeah.
We are primarily Midwest to West Coast and then international, and we have a presence on the East Coast, but it's mostly direct to consumer through our website. But we have retailers, of course we have retailers, but when you look at the whole East Coast, as you know, it's sporadic.
Yeah.
So yeah, the in-person meetups are extremely important, but we don't do trade shows. We don't go out as far as being industry facing visibly. We don't pay for Instagram ads. We don't pay for likes. We don't do any of that because
Right.
we started with a direct conversation with customers and people that were interested, and we're going to continue to do that. So for the Bond fan who is looking at this jacket because Daniel Craig wore it, I'm going to speak directly to them the same way I do to all of our other customers. So my DMs are very interesting right now on Instagram.
I bet.
It's, yeah, I mean, we're playing catch up, but we're also having fun doing it. It's not something we're stressing about.
I will give you a little pulse on the Bond community right now in association with your company. First of all, there's 2 things that people are loving right now about RGT. Number one, you guys really are coming across, because it's genuine, as an authentic small business. And you're not some conglomerate, and they're feeling that. They can see that when you answer them directly. Many of them are getting in touch with me and they're in shock. You know, that, oh my gosh, you know, this guy was associated with this, you know, so you've got this, you're going to be humbleized, but quasi celebrity going on because of your association. The other thing I've got to tell you is this community is used to jackets that cost thousands of dollars, suits that cost $6,000. Bond wears luxury brands. And I still believe RGT is an authentic luxury brand. But when you have a jacket that's, you know, shy under $300, people were wiping their eyes. They were so happy they couldn't believe it, because suddenly, you know, people try to get this frugal Bond look. Suddenly, people could have the screen accurate Bond clothing without mortgaging their house. So I think they're incredibly appreciative of that.
Well, I lost you there.
Oh, did you hear that last part?
Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay.
Did you hear that last part?
No, I didn't. That was the part I missed.
I just said that, because of the price point is so reasonable, even for a luxury piece, people are so gracious and thankful because they can have a screen accurate piece that doesn't cost them $6,000. And that's very unique in the Bond community.
Right. Well, yeah, that was, and I see, I see obviously the large swath of the Bond community, and there's people that, of course, are ready, willing, and able to buy all the luxury product, the watch, the Tom Ford suits, which are beautiful. And funny enough, when I designed the supply jacket, I cut high under the arm as a reference to how Tom Ford designs his suits back in 2010. So for anybody that is interested in that. So that was very important, and it kind of translates across our collection as far as fit is concerned. So it is intentionally cut high under the armhole, so it feels like a fitted, tailored blazer.
It does, and I don't think Bond would have it any other way. And by the way, have you heard through the grapevine or otherwise the other components that he wears in that scene? Looks like he's wearing a white T-shirt and maybe blue chinos or jeans or something.
I haven't gotten any confirmation as to what he's actually wearing, but I mean, that's what I wear, and that's what you're wearing, and it looks good. So I wouldn't be surprised. My theory is that he was probably hanging out somewhere and he got attacked. So he was in his civvies, he got attacked, and he was like, oh, I guess I'm going back into action. Yeah. So when he goes to get his car is kind of like his reintroduction into the 007 world. But I'm just theorizing here. Because it looks out of character, right? It looks like he, like for a lot of Bond fans, they're like, okay, well, why isn't he in a suit all the time? Why isn't he looking his best? Yeah. And obviously he looks great in the jacket, but wax canvas, quasi, heritage Americana styling is a little bit, left field for Bond. Right. So, that's my theory. But
all right, my theory. We'll want to share. So, I believe that there's a scene where Felix goes and gets Bond out of retirement in Jamaica. They're sitting at a bar, and clearly there's some sort of action scene afterwards. It could be there, it could be in Cuba, where he gets pulled back to London. And I believe this outfit is once he leaves Jamaica or Cuba. This is his I'm going back into service outfit, like you're saying. And the first stop that he makes is to go to his storage facility where he's got his Aston Martin, he's got his Bollinger champagne. And I think that you're right. I think this is his re-entry back into the Bond that we know. Yeah,
it's the going to battle jacket. Ooh. So when you put it on, you're kind of like, I'm ready for anything in this thing.
All right, so it's almost like you were here when we filmed the review of this jacket yesterday, and my crew was kind of like listening to me talk about it. And the one thing I said is, when you first try this on, it almost feels like armor, and it's not so much the stiffness. And that's the other thing I said. You got to wear this thing. The more you wear it, the more it becomes a part of you. But I said it feels like armor. Like, I don't know, it makes me sit up a little bit straighter. It almost feels like, I have to say, like a Tom Ford suit. A Tom Ford suit gives you a better posture. It gives you confidence. And when I put on this jacket, I have that feeling, the same feeling.
That's awesome. I mean, that, when it originally released, it was in a heavyweight denim. So think about twice as heavy as that canvas. So that'll improve your posture for sure.
Yes. A kick to the spine. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Karl, first of all, thank you so much for carving out time. We'd love to stay in touch with you, and maybe in a after the holidays, when you're wiping your brow and, thanking your wife for all her hard work, we can kind of retouch base. But I appreciate you taking the time. I know this is a super busy time of the year.
No, it's my pleasure. And I'm really excited that all these new people are touching the brand and getting interested in the jacket and what Leslie and I have built. And we will love to continue to share our story. And we are just forever grateful for, the opportunity that has been given us. So thank you guys for your interest.
Awesome. Thank you, Karl. That was amazing. Again, thank you, Karl, for taking the time. Karl is so busy right now with holiday orders and, a little movie called No Time to Die and James Bond and the entire Bond community finding his company and purchasing these jackets. So thank you so much for taking that time. I don't think it's the last that we'll be seeing of RgT, but I love this jacket. I always talk about these types of clothings in very emotional connection ways. The biggest question is, do I find myself grabbing that piece of clothing very authentically and organically? Meaning, in the morning, I'm heading out to work or I'm heading out to have some fun out in the world. Do I grab this item? Sometimes I've got to force myself to wear a piece of clothing. I haven't worn that piece of clothing in a while. With this jacket, I find myself almost having to be like, "Ooh, I've worn this 4 days in a row." It is that type of clothing item that you just keep going back to time and time again. Do I think it's going to be a major scene in the movie? I have a feeling it won't be. I have a feeling it may literally be Bond traveling to that storage unit and picking up the jacket. Picking up the Aston Martin, flowing over the thing, and then that might be it. One thing I do want to mention, because we had a video months ago about a different brand's jacket, the Billy Reid jacket, that we thought it was the Norway jacket, or what we were calling the Norway jacket, where he's riding in the Aston Martin in Norway along the Atlantic Highway. First of all, this is not that jacket, okay? That's been identified by, it seems like Massimo Alba. And we don't have confirmation on that as of the filming of this. So please, buyer beware. The other thing is, though, from a jacket standpoint, is this is not that jacket. The one he wears in Norway, what he wears over the Henley, that is a long duster jacket. This is a short one. So the one he wears in that car is not this jacket. So listen, it's too early to tell all the different places he could wear this jacket. My whole point is that this is perfect for that scene. It's excitement around the trailer, but we believe there's other jackets that we're still going to be talking about. That's my only point here. But for now, this is the Bond jacket that we're talking about that we really like. And again, we want to thank Rogue Territory. So this has been our little discussion about some of the details. This has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll see you all real soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.